So what is that like to be grown, to have grown up, being an atheist and being an adult and don't believe there is a God? What's that like?
Well, there's so many different ways to answer that question. I would have to say, see, I didn't really super care too much about the issue. When I was 19, I met a girl who I was able to talk to for hours on end and never get bored. And I didn't know what that meant at the time, but there was just one thing that we butted heads on once was religion. And everything else was solid talk, great time. And I think that's what kind of, like, this really kind of can separate people. Whereas I bet there's a lot of people who could be together who aren't because religion is there to separate them. And I think that's what turned me on to realize what I felt was detrimental to good relationships.
Amazing. And so you, where you get your morals from?
Culture, science, stuff like that.
So culture is bad right now. So you get bad morals from bad culture. You change with the culture.
I don't know if it's bad. I think culture gets better over time. I think because we're in the information age now, we are able to see a lot more than we were before with the internet. So I think that maybe we can focus more on the bad because we can see a lot more of it, and I don't think enough emphasis is on the good. So I think we're getting better. I think our culture changes and morality changes over time for the better. It depends on what you pay attention to, I think.
And so if you don't believe that there is a God, who created you?
My parents had sex.
Your parents had sex?
Probably at least 3 times. Yeah.
What do you do in those times when you feel sad or lonely or empty or when you're by yourself and just feel unimportant? How do you deal with all that?
To tell the truth, I've never really felt lonely. I think the definition of lonely, if I'm not mistaken, is when you expect someone to be there and they're not. And I can't really say I've felt that too much. Maybe during a breakup once in a while I did. But when I have times like that, I guess to answer your question, I probably would turn to friends or the little bit of family that I have. And yeah, it's all about mental health. Working out, taking care of yourself. If you do that, then you're better capable of handling the things get sent your way that are not the best.
Oh, I see. So do you feel empty sometimes? Like something's missing?
Not really. I think like your meaning in life is really a relative to each person. So what interests you depends on what you find value in, and things of that nature. So.
So even today your parents are still atheists?
Well, I just have my mom, and she remarried. She has a husband. So I don't think he is, but she still is, yes.
Oh, okay. And how about your father?
Father, he died when I was 8. He was an alcoholic, which is probably why I don't drink. I've never been drunk or high or anything. I've never done drugs, save the caffeine I have every morning. Yeah, I think he was always an atheist that I know of.
And so you stayed away from drugs because of that?
I think through my father's addiction, his abuse of alcohol, I think I didn't turn to. I had a pretty dysfunctional family even after he died, so things were a little rough for me. But instead of turning to bad things, I turned to chess and computers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when you said things were a little rough for you, in what way, if you can tell us?
Well, after my father died, things got a little rough because there was the 3 of us. I actually used to have another brother, and then my mom kicked us out when we were 14. Kicked me out when I was 14. Grew up in foster home, shelters, stuff like that. It was a little rough. I went to like 6 different high schools.
Wow.
So it was pretty rough. But I didn't let it get me down, or because I knew that I felt like I had something to offer. I was very good at chess. I studied that a lot. I took pride in the accomplishments that I could make when I was a kid.
Right.
And so I just stuck to my studies. And
Why did she kick you out at 14?
she kicked my other brother out at 14 too.
Why?
She couldn't handle 3 teenagers, I guess.
All boys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So she like, y'all got to get out of here.
I guess she wanted to be home with her horses, and that's what she cared about. So.
Really? And how did that impact you mentally and emotionally?
I think anyone coming out of a situation like that is going to have some issues.
Yeah.
Saw therapy for a while. The main issue I had out of it probably was having some judgmental issues sometimes in social interactions, which I feel I've overcome for the most part. But other than that, I can't really see anything too negative.
Did you go and forgive her for that?
Oh, yeah, and she's apologized. She was a teacher. Both my parents were teachers, and she had to teach younger children before she retired. She was usually teaching high school students, so she had to teach at very young children. And through that experience, she realized, wow, I've actually been raising children differently. I should have done this, I should have done that from being exposed to them.
Right.
And she's realized she made a mistake. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So are you close to her now?
Yeah, we talk quite often, yeah. That's why I came on Florida to make sure she was okay.
Oh, good. And so this show is called The Fallen State. Do you believe human beings are in a fallen state?
I am not going to answer that in probably the way you are expecting, since I
No,
am
I have
not.
no expectation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, none.
Okay,
Zero.
thank you. I think to agree we are a little bit. I really don't read too much into psychology, but lately I've been reading about something called spiral dynamics. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you.
No.
But there's certain stages of noted by their color that society is going through, and we keep moving to these different stages. And I think, like for instance, there's a blue stage where it's about religion and things of that nature, and then there's orange, and then there's green, and green is about caring more about all of mankind instead of just yourself. And I think we may be in a fallen state because as we progress, we may hold on to things that too rigidly that we shouldn't, and we have to keep growing and learning in order to move forward. And I think that in a way that we try to hold on to the old ways that we can't bring with us. We have to learn from every stage in order to move up. But we hold on to things we shouldn't, that stops us from progressing.
I see. And so you don't believe there is a God. Do you believe there is a Satan?
I'm without belief in things of that nature.
How about good and evil?
I think good and evil may contain, I could say good and bad maybe, but probably not good and evil. I'm not sure.
Why not evil?
I see it more of maybe a religious overtones to the word that I can't quite.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's.
And so do you believe that there are evil people? Well, I know you don't.
I think that maybe there are misguided people for various reasons. A lot of people out there, and one of the things I talk about in my videos are people come to conclusions using emotions, and you should come to conclusions about how the world works based on logic and reason, and not use your emotions to make conclusions for you. So a lot of people, they make conclusions based on their emotions, then they act on that, because we all are guided by the beliefs that we have. And if we have fallacious beliefs about how the world works, our actions are going to be based on those fallacious beliefs, and a lot of times those actions could be bad for mankind because they're based on false beliefs about how you think the world is. So do I think that there are bad people or evil people, as you put it? Yes, either because they have bad beliefs, or they have a mental disability, or they do drugs, or something of that nature. Yeah.
So would you would you consider yourself as being a free man? Are you free?
There are different ways to look at the word free. I'm assuming that's open-ended, as your other questions are. So I am not married, no children, so in that sense, I would like to say I am free.
I would too. So, what was it like growing up? Do you want to be married and kids at some point?
I think, especially in this country here, marriage is a really bad deal for men. So, as nice as that may sound, I would not want it, just because the family court is just so bad for men that I think I would only be setting myself up for fail if I did that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a bad situation.
It's you know, the world is not the way the Women's March will try to lead you to believe.
Yeah. So when you die, where do you think you're going? What's going to happen to you?
Where I'm going to go, I think. Well, I like to be. What's left of me, I like to be cremated, because I think burying people is a waste of space, waste of resources, waste of money. I see all the cemeteries out there, and I just think of all the cooler things that could be there besides people's graves.
And so are you a physical or a soul, a spirit?
I am a physical person. I have no reason to think that I have a spirit. I think the word spirit, like soul, was made up, and the reason why science doesn't have anything to do with that word is because I don't think it has any scientific basis for it.
So you believe the whole of you is a physical person?
I have no reason to think otherwise, but so yes, I'll say yes to that.
I was watching some of your YouTube channels in preparation for this show.
My
this
videos, you
interview.
mean? Okay.
And you go out on the streets, and I don't want to use the word harass, but that's what you do. I mean, I don't know if it's harass. I was thinking about this. I was thinking,
okay.
I don't know if I'm going to ask Ted, is he harassing the preachers?
I can answer that for you.
Oh, okay.
I
go
think,
just so the people know, you go out on the streets,
yes,
and you meet up with the street preachers.
Yes.
Is that harassment?
Harassment, I think, is doing harm to someone in some fashion and bothering them and following them around to such an extent that's a problem. The preachers are out there trying to interact with people. I don't go to people who aren't out there trying to interact with people.
Right.
If they're just by themselves, I'm not going to, hey, dude, I don't come up with a microphone and say, talk to me about, Jesus, or I don't do that. They have to be interacting with people and trying to convince people of something that I know they won't be able to substantiate in any way. So I only come up to them because they are interacting with other people. So I'm just someone who they're just doing what they want. I'm interacting with them. So I don't really see that as harassing.
Okay. And so when you approach the street preachers,
yes,
what is your purpose?
My purpose that I probably wouldn't have been able to answer some years ago, but now I can because I've actually put thought into it, is to bring education and awareness. That's what I care about. And I want to debate them, not because I think I'm really going to convince them or change their mind, but because there's an audience listening, and it's for the audience. And that's why I upload my videos, because it's a small audience there, but it's an even bigger audience when I put it online.
Yeah.
And I just like to bring rationality, brings logic, question it, and show people that there's a different way of looking at this, different way of handling this. And you may hear these people on the street, but have you really thought about what they're saying? And that's why I do it.
And so are you surprised when they get upset at you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. A lot of people who do it don't really expect much pushback.
Yeah.
I'm one of the rare individuals who is not afraid to speak and say his mind and confront someone when something happens. So not too surprised, no. Some get really upset.
I know.
Depends, yeah.
What are you thinking while they're upset? And you're just sitting there questioning them.
And that's all I do too. I don't threaten them.
You don't threaten
I don't. There's been times I yell, but only because I'm trying to communicate with them.
Yeah.
But I never personally attack people. I never
Right.
threaten them. I think they're upset because someone doesn't buy into what they're saying without question.
Interesting.
I think so.
That's a good point. And I saw one video where you were talking to the black Israelites or something.
Oh gosh, they're still out here sometimes, I think.
What was that? I mean, what was that like for you?
That was a scary bunch. I mean, it's just, I mean, if they want to say Jesus was black, you know, all the more power to them, but they openly say, I can't wait until you die so I can punish you, you know, because you're white. And I'm just like, if you're going to do this, why be racist about it? Like, I don't understand. It really disgusts me. There was never having, the only thing I regret about that, although I didn't have any control over it, is I couldn't engage them one-on-one and talk about them. They would not allow it.
Yeah, they don't ever allow that.
No, no.
I noticed when I interview them, they don't ever really talk to you. They just quote the Bible.
Yeah.
They hoop and holler, and they have somebody else, amen.
They think I'm a cop. They think I'm a cop because
You look like a cop.
I'm ex-military, so I got the short hair and
that's what that
stuff.
look is. Yeah, you look like a cop. You also look like Mike Cernovich.
Oh, okay. I don't
know him?
No, sir, I don't know.
Yeah, you guys look just alike.
Okay.
Maybe your mother been tipping around.